You're listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. As always, a proud member of the CLNS group of podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to all of those great shows to get great Patriots content all week long. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is a special post-game show tonight because the New England Patriots are finally, our long national nightmare is over. The New England Patriots are finally back in the Super Bowl. Heading there in 2 weeks. Just unbelievable after going 4-13 last year. Just what an unbelievable season.
It is. It's hard to describe the feeling. I want to go back to week one, and like the feeling coming into the team, because you go back to last year, and every time they played a game, you're not even really expecting a win. You're just like, can I see something exciting today? And this year, you're going in kind of thinking, like, I just wanted to be better than that. Like, I'd like to see some wins.
Yep.
And it just felt like every time I sat down in front of my TV to watch the Patriots, they just keep winning. Like, it's inexplicable. It's the complete reverse of last year. And I think there's a lot of people to credit for this, but especially with the way today's game happened, it has to start at the top with Mike Vrabel and what they did with the football operations this year, the turnaround in terms of rookie scouting, in terms of pro scouting, in terms of culture, and in terms of preparation. They are immediately one of the best orgs in the business, and all four of those right now.
100%. And you know, you look at what the rookie class did this year, and I know that they haven't had as big of an impact in the playoffs outside of Craig Woodson as they did in the regular season, but you're not in this position without Will Campbell at left tackle, without Travion Henderson as your second running back, without Kyle Williams at wide receiver for you. You're not in this position without those guys. And they make a lot of big plays. And, even Borregales, the kicker, who, missed 2 field goals tonight. One of them was from 64 yards. So it was a little, that one you can excuse. The other one, tough situation, in a tough environment. You'd like to see him hit it, obviously, but it is what it is, right? So, but either way, I feel like you've gotten a lot of good contributions from your rookie class, and then you look at the free agent class they brought in, and it's like, it's unbelievable. It's the best free agent class since the 01 Patriots, right? And so it's really just incredible what they've been able to do, and it's the small things too. It's the small things. For instance, on the Gonzo interception, right? They sub in, right? What's it called? Denver makes a substitution. So the Patriots are allowed to substitute as well. So what do? They wait to the last minute when they can. They substitute in their big guys for other big guys, and their biggest guy, Tonga's running off the field as fast as he can, right? And the Broncos have to snap that quick with 1 second left on the play clock to throw that pass. And of course, maybe Stidham rushes it, maybe not, but nevertheless, it ends up as an interception by Christian Gonzalez. And it's those little things that give them a coaching advantage. You look at what, how they've responded and how they've game planned and made adjustments throughout the season has been incredible from the coaching staff to begin with. But those other little things that you're seeing, those things matter so much. And it's stuff that wasn't happening certainly since they went back, certainly since they went to the Super Bowl in 2018. And it's happening now. It's a big reason of why the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, all of that. And it's, I did think that for portions of the game today, we can dig into it, Sean Payton outcoached Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
And that's fair. Sean Payton's also very good at this. He's been around the block. He's won a Super Bowl. He's led back quarterbacks to big wins before. So, he's no stranger to this moment. And I think that was probably one of the biggest reasons the Denver matchup could be scary, is that you're going to have a good coach on the opposing sideline too. But just I thought the whole second half, maybe not the whole second half, 98% of the second half was a masterclass by Mike Grable in being ready for those elements, being prepared for those elements, and having the right calls ready to go for them, for the right situational plays. And I think we got to give a little credit to Drake May himself on the ceiling play to send you to the Super Bowl. I feel like we got to, when we're talking about specific plays, we got to start there, right?
I mean, that's the play, right? That's the thing. And by the way, Matt checking in with Super Bowl bound. Let's go, right? But that play right there is a play that is something, the audacity of him to even attempt to do that. But he must have seen something. I would imagine he must have seen something. He must have been thinking they're going to go, we just been running the ball. So they're going to go for it. As soon as we go out wide, everyone's going to flow that way. And he was right. And credit to him, he beat the guy to the edge. And what's crazy is that if he doesn't beat that guy to the edge and get the first down, his momentum's carrying him out of bounds. If he runs out of bounds short of the first down marker, the Patriots are punting back to them with like a minute 45 left to go in the game. And everyone is saying, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, what's wrong with you? And so that's a big play where that took some big cojones for him to do that. And it's just, what a great job by him pulling that off. And again, I think it comes back to your Vrabel point. Vrabel's been talking about, and we saw it all off season, all training camp. Be the leader, be the guy, be the reason that we win. Like pushing him to be that guy. And in that biggest moment, in the play they absolutely have to seal the win, to send them to the Super Bowl, he puts the team on his back and says, I'm doing this. Don't even worry about it. And that's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. And this was, not a very good Drake May game. We have not seen him have one of those games in the playoffs yet, which I think is in large part because of the quality of the opponents and the weather conditions. Like that's really limited things. But on a day where he doesn't have his best stuff throwing the football or reading a defense to make a number of winning plays with his legs, and I do think that's, we judge Drake May by the overall performance, and I think if you were to say, oh, Drake May is going to play like this in every single game next season, I'd be concerned. But we're talking about right now in the playoffs. The goal is to score more points than the other team, and today, couple mistakes, couple bad throws. There's a lot to be cleaned up, but you don't turn the ball over, especially on the sacks when you're getting hit. You're not fumbling. So that was a key point in this game that we stressed. And you make enough plays with your legs. And that's enough against a team that, especially once that weather rolls in, was not going to score on you again. I feel pretty confident, especially after the blocked field goal. I feel very confident that the Broncos weren't scoring again anyway.
Yeah, and it was one of those things, the defense just shut them down. And that's, this is what the Patriots have done, right? All playoffs. They're the first team. They allowed the least amount of points in 3 games since the 2000 Ravens, by the way, allowed 16 points in 3 games, which is just absurd.
Unbelievable. And I believe 23 in the whole playoff
because I think they won like 41-7 or something stupid like that.
And I believe the 7 was like a punt return touchdown or something. It wasn't the defense, it was special teams.
Which is just ridiculous. And so that's like, that defense was incredible. But this defense hasn't gotten the hype, hasn't gotten the credit that it deserves, in my opinion. And look, I'm not saying they played against the greatest offenses ever, but like people talk about Justin Herbert like he's a top 10 quarterback. I don't know. They shut him down. The Texans offense hasn't been great, but it's been okay. They shut them down. And now the Broncos, yes, of course, they don't have their number one. They don't have their quarterback, but they shut the run down today. They forced Jarrett Stidham to be the one to beat them. And he had a nice throw. But, this is one of those situations for me where I just look at it and say, no, this defense is legit. I think this defense can slow down the run of the Seahawks. Can they cover JSN and Cooper Kupp and, their litany of tight ends? And Rashid Shaheed as well? That remains to be seen. The Seahawks are the best team in the league, in my opinion. So it's going to be a tough matchup for the Patriots. The other part of it for me is the schedule talk. We talk about the schedule, and it's like, this team stinks and that team stinks. I'm sorry. They're the first team in NFL history. That's right. NFL history to beat 3 teams in the playoffs with top 5 defenses. It's pretty impressive. There's a reason it hasn't happened before. And oh, by the way, they're playing the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, who are the 4th top 5 defense that they'll play.
Yep.
And so that's one of those things for me where it's like, man, if they win the Super Bowl here, there's nothing that anyone can say. I don't care if Sam Darnold goes. I don't care if I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. That's a legitimate run from the Patriots. And Drake May hasn't been great throwing the ball. And that's probably a good reason why,
I will say, I don't really like, let's say the Patriots do win the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. What do they call the Super Bowl, or the team that wins the Super Bowl that had the easiest schedule of the 60 teams that have won the Super Bowl? A Super Bowl champion.
That's
like
correct,
that old joke
baby.
about what do you call the last graduate in the doctor's class or whatever? Like, you call him a doctor. Like, that's
Right, correct.
You earn the title. You could say anything you want about the title. It doesn't stop the fact that Lombardi would be at one Patriot place, which, we're still 60, maybe 60 plus minutes of football away from that being decided. But at this point, you're 9-0 on the road. You're going to the Super Bowl. I could not care less what people have to say about the schedule at this point.
Right.
You're in the Super Bowl. You've either beaten every good team, or the good teams couldn't. The supposed good teams couldn't get to that point to even play you.
Right.
And yeah, they got fortunate at points with injuries and other teams, but availability is a very important part of football. It is a war of attrition. This is how the sport works, and I think you saw that. You've seen that all playoffs, but it's not about. I mean, it is about the best players on your team, but it's about the 53 guys and more with the practice squads. You look at some of the key plays made today in both games. Potentially the game-winning play in the Patriots-Broncos game is a practice squad elevation defensive tackle signed to the practice squad mid-season blocking a field goal. Someone cut from one of the worst defenses in all of football in your very division. And this is why I said the pro evaluation side at the start, to see enough there to say it's probably a combination of pro and college evaluation.
Of course, yeah.
But to see that and say there's some we thought there was something here, they're not getting it out of them. Let's see if we can get something out of them, and to turn that into a blocked field goal in the AFC Championship game.
Yep.
In a game you win by 3 points, unbelievable. And then even you go to the Rams Seahawks game. In a one-score game, the play that really swings that is a muffed punt followed by a touchdown pass to Jake Bobo.
Right.
This sport's about having talent at the top of your roster, but it's also very much about having depth and complementary pieces and well-coached guys up and down the roster that can, do what you ask them to do, and also that how to put in a position to succeed. That's where coaching matters. That's where organizational vision matters. And I do think for this season, I think these are the 2 teams that have the strongest organizational visions, and it makes sense that they're going to be facing off in the Super Bowl.
100%. And I think, even guys like Corey Durden and look, free agents that they signed as well, right? Kyrus Tonga was a guy that no one really talked about when they signed him. He's been a great signing. Mac Hollins was a guy that was, very much poo-pooed by a lot of people around here. And, he's a big reason the Patriots are in this spot. And so that kind of vision of what they want the organization to be, and the vision to see, hey, this guy isn't working out there, but he's not working out there because he's not in the scheme that he needs to be in. We can bring him in and we'll see what happens. I want to pull up a few of these comments because I just love people are James, is this real life? Charlie says we're back, boys. It's kind of wild. So we got some love from Philly. Crazy matchup. Pat Seahawks. Connor says a great team win, which it was. He actually predicted the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. Stidham finally came through for the Pats. So look, this is one of those things where it's enjoy this one. I love Vrabel's message to the team at the end where he says, Go out and have fun. The's no curfew tonight, but we're leaving at 8 a.m. with or without you. Like, I love it so much, you know.
Man, I hope everyone's on that plane in the morning.
Oh, baby, you better be on that bus. So it's gonna be a fun ride home, but this is gonna be a long ride home. I feel like, you know. So
that's gonna be a very hungover ride home.
you would imagine, yes. Well, maybe not even hungover. Those guys may not even sleep tonight. Who knows? So it's just it's pretty unbelievable. And this is one of those things for me that I just feel like there's so many different angles we can go here, and there's so many different guys that stepped up and made big plays. Right? Obviously, you know, Christian Gonzalez gets his first pick of the year in a huge moment, right? But it's also other guys too. Christian Ellis forces that throw to be backwards instead of forward, ends up being the only Patriots touchdown, right? Like it's those little guys as well. And by the way, and I know, you know, Will Campbell's the guy that gets all the hate, right? Will Campbell has not played well this postseason. Yeah. I thought he had a pretty good game tonight. Maybe not perfect, but I thought he had a pretty good game. Drake May was sacked a good amount of times, but he didn't really allow any of those sacks in. Now, every once in a while, he got beat once or twice. That's going to happen, right? He had a cut block where he went for a cut block and just whiffed, and that was not ideal, not what you're looking for. But, you know, for the most part, against the defense that had the most sacks in the NFL this year, I thought he held his own pretty well. You know, and so I was pleasantly surprised to see that after what we saw the first two playoff games, and hopefully it continues next week against what's going to be a very, very tough Seahawks defense as well.
Yeah. I thought the offensive line, I would have liked to see more from them overall, but they did enough. And I do think, you know, one of the biggest, the most pivotal sequences of the game is the clock churning drive to open the second half. And one of my points coming away from the first half, you know, we talked about key factors in this game. You know, it's for the Patriots to win the line of scrimmage in the running game, specifically on both sides of the ball. And I thought they did it on defense in the first half, but absolutely not on offense. They had 9 rushing attempts in the first half. 3 of them were successful, and I believe one of those is the quarterback draw for Drake May that's a touchdown. Which, if we're talking running back runs, they had 2 successful ones, I believe, in the entire first half.
Not great.
No, and they end up having more than that just on that drive. The first drive of the third quarter, 11 rushing attempts, 5 of them were successful. Like 30-something yards after contact, I believe, maybe 40-something yards after contact on that drive. And it was just tough, physical, hard-mouth football. And again, in a game like this, like you really only needed one, knowing the competition and the weather that was incoming. And the timing of that drive, to know coming out of the half, the weather's coming in. And with the wind and the snow, you're not going to be able to throw. Well, that very quickly became apparent. You know, all right, well, this is our chance. So we gotta, if we can take this clock down, we can shorten this game, give Jarrett Stidham make Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos have to try to throw into this weather and know that they're going to be playing from behind. Like they really have to do this. And I mean, that won the game right there, being able to go down and get into field goal range. And, you know, you wish Drake May makes a better play on third down there, and you come away with a touchdown, and I think you're feeling a lot better about things. Right. But you did enough to get the win, and then obviously, you know, the running game's not great in the fourth quarter, but that was a point where both defenses know exactly what's coming, and especially knowing that it was Jarrett Stidham on the other side, I had no issue with run, punt at that point.
Yeah, you just can't. I mean, you couldn't. You know, you had that one play where like Mondre and Drake both fell down near the goal line. It's just tough. It's one of those situations, you know. And I think one of the things for me, and ASJ says it here, Drake had 0 turnovers, right? When they attempted the field goal, I thought he had Diggs late. I thought he had Diggs for a touchdown late. I wish he had thrown it. I will say this. He has gotten in trouble. Certainly got in trouble last week, and he got in trouble the week before that too, with holding onto the ball too long and trying to make a play when he just should have taken the sack. And I think that was one of those situations where he looked at it and said, yep, we're in field goal range already. The pocket's collapsing around me. I've kind of committed to going forward already. Maybe I can pull the ball up and throw it, but just take the sack and take the 3 points. And ultimately, if that's what his decision-making was in that situation, I'm okay with it because he's trying not to lose the game. And I think that makes a difference. Now, do I wish he had tried to make the throw? Of course I did. Of course I do, right? But this is an example of Stidham throws that backwards pass because he's just trying to get rid of the ball in that situation. It's third down. The drive's already over. He's going backwards for no reason, but he's then just trying to make a play instead of just throwing it away 5 seconds earlier or just eating it and taking a sack. And instead he tries to make a play and he turns the ball over and he gives the Patriots, not first and goal, but, first down at the 15-yard line or something like that. And the Patriots capitalize and score a touchdown on it. And that's their only touchdown of the game. That's the difference in the game right there. And so, not trying to do too much, I think sometimes can be okay. Just take what's given to you and we're good.
Yeah. I will say, I kind of talked about this during the week. Like, the ideal for Drake is to find the happy medium between these things more often, and I thought he struggled there today. Thought he ended up on the more conservative end, which in a game like this, not an issue. I will say you're going against the Seattle offense in 2 weeks that is high powered.
That's correct.
So you're going to have to force the envelope and be aggressive a little bit. So it's just. And I will say, like, Mace had good pocket presence for most of the year. This has really only come up in the playoffs. So I'm still optimistic that at some point in one of these games, he just kind of snaps out of it and starts seeing the field better. Because he didn't see it that well today. And, that's this Denver defense, the way they play their coverage is you'll get coverage busts if the play extends for a long time. It's just the rushers are usually pretty good at making sure that that doesn't happen. And, I credit to the Denver pass rush. There was that play in the first half where May tries to roll out. They call it the naked bootleg. And May tries to roll out on it. And he just gets chased down and tackled. And that's just not something that usually happens to him. Like, this Denver defense is good. They have athletes. They read the play. They're well coached.
Yep.
And when things like that are happening, you'll if the only options available are get hit while you're throwing the football in the red zone or take a sack at the 3-yard line or whatever and have easy field goal range, you take the latter every time. It's just, as he grows and develops, you hope that there's more options available more often than just those two.
Right. I agree with that. So do you want to take a quick ad break and then we'll kind of finish talking about this here. It's going to be a quick show tonight. We're going to be back later on this week, breaking down the matchup and kind of going through any last thoughts that we missed as well. This ad, of course, for PrizePicks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close out the season right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Find your community on PrizePicks with the new social feeds feature. You can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. Now, my lineup, unfortunately, this week, terrible, just terrible. I went as low as I possibly could on Stidham and picked the over. Picked more. Yeah, not less. I picked more for his passing yards, and it was like 145. And so I was like, early in the game, I'm like, it's definitely gonna be more than that, but it was not, thankfully. And so that one didn't go. And I also had Kayshon Boutte for more than, like, I don't even know, 40 yards receiving or something like that. You had like 8. So you win some, you lose some. That's the way it goes. But what you're going to do is download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Okay. What the heck were we talking about right before? Because I was going to bring something up, and I can't remember what it was. I don't remember.
That's okay. I got something we can bring up if you're
Go ahead. Let's hear it. Go ahead.
Comment here. SJ says, also shout out Ramondre. Held on to the ball in the biggest game in those conditions. What a turnaround from the Pittsburgh game. I had a very evil thought in my head the last 12 minutes of the game when it was clear that the Broncos offense wasn't going to be able to do it all on their own. Of if we fumble this in our own territory,
oh god,
like Ramondre loses it, and it sets up especially in those conditions, like the Denver offense isn't going to beat you, but
right.
with the snow, if someone slips and falls or someone misses one tackle, that's all it takes for a touchdown the other
Correct.
way. Like that can just happen.
Yep.
Because of the conditions. It's like, man, if that happens and Ramondre loses a fumble, the Broncos immediately go in and score and take the lead. And now it's the Patriots that have to drive in these conditions. I'm going to be sick to my stomach.
Brutal.
And Ramondre, I mean, he's knock on wood, but he has been rock solid for months now. Really, since his last fumble was the Bills game in Week 5.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
He's had it on lock since then.
Yeah, it's really and again, this is one of those things where you talk about Vrabel and what he brings to the team. And this is one of those things, the belief in his players that he doesn't give up on them. And Ramondre is just, he's a perfect example. And I think one of the things that Vrabel said really well was he said, look, it's not just running the football, right? He's a great blocker. He takes care of his players, right? And I think that really struck a chord with me because he's saying I try to take care of the guys that take care of the team. When he does unselfish things. On that flea flicker, he flips it back to May and then instantly blocks the linebacker coming through the hole to give him the time to throw it to Matt Collins. And that's a play that looks like whatever it's about. That's a huge block by him in that situation. And so that's really one of those situations where I'm like, man, this is what Mondre brings to the table. This is why, Vrabel likes him so much and wants him around. And stuck with him through all those fumbling issues. And then at the same time, when you see him stick with him through those things, you as a player feel more free because hey, I can make a mistake and he's not going to bench me forever if I do that. And then you have a guy like Ramondre who's, is going to live and die with Mike Vrabel. I mean, this is a situation where Ramondre Stevenson, I got to imagine, if you're Ramondre Stevenson, you want to finish your career in New England. You want to play here for the rest of your life for this guy because he stuck with you when a lot of people wouldn't have. And, that earns a lot of trust, not just from him, but from the rest of the locker room, and it matters. So,
yeah. Well, I made a joke on Twitter during the game that if the fumbling issues ever do come back to him again, they could just switch him to guard, and I think it would work.
I mean, really, it's unbelievable. He's a great blocker.
That's the issue with Trevion Henderson too. Is that he's a good blocker. Like he's made the adjustment to the NFL.
Yeah.
He's not having the issues we saw at the beginning of the year. He's also still far and away the second best pass blocker on the team.
That's not even close.
At running back, Ramondre might be he might be top 3 at the position in the league. I confess I can't rank running backs on pass blocking skill alone across the league. It's not something I watch that much, but Ramondre has been
pretty dang good at it. Yeah, I agree.
And then he made some nice plays there for you. So I think if we were giving out game balls today, Ramondre Stevenson absolutely gets one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Also, Eric here was at the game today. It's pretty awesome. That he was there, which is cool. And on maybe a not so positive note, Bryce Behringer, my goodness.
I'm done.
Now listen, the end of the game with the weather, with the situation, with the conditions out there, it was tough to kick at the end of the game. At the end of the game, there's no excuse for shanking punts left and right, and that's what he did. Over and over and over again. And it's, it just can't happen. I mean, he punted the ball 8 times. His average was 37.9. He averaged under 40 yards a punt. That just can't happen. It just can't happen. You're in Denver, for God's sakes. You should be able to kick the ball further than that. It's a huge, huge problem for the Patriots. And that's something that, hopefully won't rear its ugly head in the Super Bowl, but you just don't know. If he shanks one at the wrong time, now you give the other team a short field. And Walkman points out too that he shanked one and Tonga had a big sack. And that was one of those
set up
things
the missed field goal or the block field goal at the end.
Yes. And so that's one of those things where it's like, hey, the Patriots were in the situation. As a matter of fact, Christian Gonzalez had a sack on that drive as well because Stidham ran out of bounds instead of throwing the ball away and took a 2-yard loss. And so, it's and those 2 yards may not have made much of a difference, but he might have been trying to kick it just a little bit harder, and so, but anyways, it just, that can't happen with Behringer. He's been inconsistent all year long. He hasn't been terrible all year long, but he's been inconsistent enough that I think we're ready to find the new punter. And so the time has come.
But I was looking through this beforehand. By a lot of like your traditional punting metrics, he just hovers around league average, and PFF grades punters. I'm gonna say this with a massive grain of salt because I have literally zero idea what goes into how PFF grades punters. I can't evaluate these numbers. I can't test them to see if they're good or not. But I do think it's worth mentioning that Bryce Behringer ranks 28th out of all punters.
Yeah.
In grade. To be fair, that's honestly, there's only a couple guys with small sample sizes ahead of him. So even if you remove guys with small sample sizes, it's still 26th. Not good enough. Probably worth mentioning on this that Seattle's punter Michael Dixon ranks first.
Yeah,
and
the Broncos punter tonight was phenomenal as well.
He was so good today. Well, this is one of those games where field position was going to really matter. You don't have, let's see, in the fourth quarter, the longest drive ends up going 17 yards. Like, it's field position matters when you're dealing with drives like that. Really, it's most drives the entire game did not go very far. Not a lot of offense in this one. And you just need a better punting performance. So especially with 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, I think I'd be shocked if they weren't at least looking to see who other options are.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we've seen this before. Like Ken Walter in 2003 was a horrendous punter.
Yeah,
but he was the only guy who could hold the ball that they trusted the way Adam Vinatieri liked. And they figured that trade-off was worth it. And in a Super Bowl, you win with a kick at the end. And also, that whole playoff run, divisional round, you win with a fourth quarter kick by 3 points. AFC Championship, your kicker kicks 5 field goals. Super Bowl, you win with a walk-off field goal. Like, that ends up working out for you. So, I don't think they necessarily have to change Behringer before 2 Sundays from now. But I think you at least have to look at your options because we're talking about a punter right now. It's all things considered, it's a relatively fungible position.
Right. I agree. So, by the way, Denver's punter Crawshaw, a rookie that they drafted in the 6th round this year. So, this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, he's not like a wily veteran. He's a rookie that they drafted. And so
I will say from at least the traditional metrics, he kind of ranks around league average too. This appeared to be an above average game from him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, look, I'm not necessarily saying we got to move on, but I also think that, this is one of those situations where it's like, yeah, we got to at least explore some options. And certainly in the offseason, I would at the very least bring in competition for him, right? Even if you don't want to draft a guy, I'd at the very least sign a UDFA, maybe even 2 to compete in camp and just see what happens,
And you have like 11 draft picks next year, so you can, if you want to, but like we're talking about punter and for the Super Bowl, because we're 1 game away right now, you can also sign a guy or 2 to the practice squad, have them basically have a de facto punting competition for the next 2 weeks, and then just pick which one of the 2 you want to be active on game day once you've worked with them for 2 weeks.
True. Very true. So,
yeah.
So we'll see. Also, I think it's worth mentioning BB, I don't even know, 45 Entertainment. Warriors 9-0 on the road Warriors for the Patriots. First team in NFL history to go 9-0 on the road in a season. It's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible what they were able to do, and this is just, to me, it's a mindset. It comes down to, how do you play when you're on the road, right? And then again, that's not favorable conditions, and it's, you're sleeping in a hotel the night before, and everything's it's like, nah, we're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about us. We're fine. So, I think that makes a huge difference for what the Patriots are doing, and I think, that mentality and that mindset will help them as they get to the Super Bowl.
When you listen to Mike Vrabel after the game, he seemed to already be kind of setting up that the Super Bowl is a road game. Like, mentally, we want to get there.
Yeah.
You're not at home. So I think they've had luck there. So I think they want to bring that mentality with them, especially because you're going to the West Coast to play a team from the West Coast. I expect there's going to be a lot of Patriots fans there, but this might end up being a 60-40 Seattle split. It's the Super Bowl. So it's probably going to be like 20% Seattle, 15% New England, and whatever the rest is rich
Right.
people who could afford tickets.
Basically, yeah. It will shock you, Matt. It will shock you. I did not win the lottery through the Patriots this year. It's shocking to me. I know, I figured, one out of the 12 times that they went, I'm sorry, that's not true. One of the 11 times that they went where I was a season ticket holder, I'd win the lottery at least once. I think It's just, surprising, but what are you going to do?
I'll see if I can talk to my fiance here and convince her to use the wedding funds towards going to the Super Bowl instead of a wedding. We'll see how that goes over. But yeah, there's a couple other plays in this game I want to talk about if we want to.
Yes, let's do it, because we only got about 10 minutes left, so let's do it.
Yeah, a couple in the first half. One, Drake May's first pass attempt. I want to give a shout out to the Denver defense because I thought they kind of played it perfectly, and they only forced an incompletion on what should have been a pick, but I thought I wanted to tip my hat here. First third down of the game, Drake May's first drop back, and the Patriots put Stephon Diggs in motion. And we talked all week, kind of expected Pat Surtain to get the Diggs matchup. This is your first pass attempt. You're going to motion Diggs. Your entire thing here is, let's see who's covering Stephon Diggs. That's why the Patriots are doing that. The Broncos know that's why the Patriots are doing that.
Right.
So they don't put Surtain on Diggs. They put
Riley Moss. It was Riley Moss.
Was it Riley?
Yeah, it was
on that one.
Yep.
And you kind of, I called out to my fiance as it happened. He goes in motion. I see it's not Surtain. I say, well, you got to go to Diggs here. Everyone knows you got to go to Diggs there. Well, it's a quick slant, and there are not one but two different Denver Broncos sitting right in the window for the quick slant. They knew exactly what was coming. They read it, and it's, the fact that the DB trying to catch the ball combined with Diggs getting his hand in there is the only reason why it's not a pick. And in that spot in the field, that could be a pick six. So, really good stuff there, and I think that shows this Denver defense was legit, not just because of the talent, but because of the preparation and the coaching that goes into it. And really, the first 3-4 possessions of this game, it just kind of felt like everything the Patriots called offense and defense, Denver had an answer for in some capacity. You look at the touchdown drive, Denver has a long throw. Christian Gonzalez gets beat. I think he gets beat because the Broncos motion, which changes the strength of the formation, and the Patriots change their defensive coverage as a result, and it becomes cover four quarters. So just gonna get real nitty gritty for just 1 second. When it's cover four quarters, and there's three receivers on one side and one receiver on the other. The one receiver on the other side they call it a meg call. That becomes man coverage. And then the other safety, the safety on that side, they call it a tricks call. He's just looking for a crossing route from the other side. That's how it works. So because it just becomes one-on-one coverage on the outside. That's what this turns into. So Christian Gonzalez has that receiver in one-on-one coverage down the field. But he plays it like he has help, because I think that there was a miscommunication in what the call was going to be, and he thought on anything deep he had help over the top. I don't know if he thought it was cover 2 on his side or cover 3, or I'm not entirely sure what coverage he thought it was.
Right.
But he just plays it soft because there's a miscommunication there. And Stidham does enough to beat you, and then immediately after that, it's a similar type of thing where the Patriots are playing match coverages, and they go play action, and they have the receiver go like he's blocking inside. And the second the receiver cuts inside, that receiver becomes the safety's responsibility, not the corner's responsibility, except the safety also has to watch the run. So when Jalen Hawkins sees the run, he takes a step forward, and it's already too late. The play's over. You've gotten beaten. It's a touchdown. So, there's just some early stuff where the Broncos really ID'd it. And we said, well, what did we say? If the Broncos came away with 10 points or fewer on their first 2 possessions, we felt good about where the Patriots were.
Yep.
That was kind of because I thought that's where we were going to see their stuff. They end up coming away with 7 points in the first 2 possessions, and they don't score again after it.
Yeah. And it really just kind of turned into, we don't think that Stidham can beat us. We know that he can't. And once those first 12 to 15 plays ran out, they just really didn't have anything. And the Patriots did a great job of shutting down the run. They did a great job of shutting down the pass. And that was all she wrote, right? And of course, then the weather turns and it becomes difficult to do pretty much anything. But the defense was all over it before that happened. And it just really, it impressed me, the way they played. And again, I know they're playing a backup. I get it. They're still well coached. It's still Sean Payton. I was told all week. I was told how well Stidham was going to do and how good Sean Payton is and how everything was going to be, the Broncos are this and the Broncos are that and the Broncos are this. And I'm sure we're going to wake up tomorrow morning and everyone's going to say, the Patriots got lucky again. They played a terrible team with a backup quarterback and so on and so forth. And the worst team to ever make the Super Bowl and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. They're there.
Well, and Sean Payton, guaranteed a win before the game.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. And listen, I'm done listening to the national media because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they have to say anyways. It's just for clicks. The vast majority of them is just for clicks. It doesn't make a difference. But I can't be more proud of what this team has done this year, coming from 4-13, and again, really 3-14 last year. They won the last game, but not really. The Bills were like, no, we don't want you to have the number 1 pick. Win this game instead. And it worked out for the Patriots because here they are. And I think they had decided to fire Mayo already, but I think that was the nail in the coffin. Winning that last game may have been the nail in the coffin. And here they are with Mike Vrabel, and things are looking as good as they can possibly look right now, and they're in the Super Bowl again. And it's really just, it's a testament to everyone and what everyone's done over there. And again, the organizational vision, to me, and you talked about that a little bit, Matt, and to me, it's when you talk about what a team needs to do, the organizational vision of this is what we want to do, this is how we're going to do it, and these are the types of guys that we want in the building to accomplish that goal. And I was really impressed by that.
Yeah. I got one other play I want to mention before we get out of here. The 4th down by the Broncos.
Stupid.
I will say this. I thought the Broncos made the correct decision to go for it. For one reason. The Patriots have not been that good in short yardage as a run defense. In particular, if you watch the film, it's all over the tape. Corey Durden. I mean, this happened last week. The touchdown the Texans score that comes back because of the illegal shift early in that game, it's Corey Durden. He is the weak link in short yardage run defense. Yep. He is a very good pass rusher, but if you double team him, he gets moved easily. He does not play with a good pad level. You can blow him off the ball. I just kind of figured that when it's 4th and 1 and you've got a backup quarterback and an obvious weakness in the defensive front, you're going to try to hammer that. And instead, the Broncos just got way too fancy with that. And the Patriots just were all over that too. Massive credit to the Patriots defense for that stop. And I think that was the real turning point of the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, I didn't get it either. I didn't love going forward on 4th down there. I just felt like you take the points and you kind of move on, especially when you thought it was going to be a defensive battle. I see wanting to score 14, and I get it. And maybe they looked at it and said, I don't trust the offense to score any more points, so we got to score a touchdown here. I get that. But again, the play call like you said, made no sense to me. I just don't understand it. And then I don't understand how you run the play call and you allow two guys, including their best pass rusher, unblocked. It's crazy to me. And so, of course, ends up as an incomplete pass, and the rest, as they say, is history. But worked out. So
should we mention the 4th and 1 the Patriots converted?
yeah, that was. Look, I mean, did he get it? Did he not get it? It doesn't matter. I actually thought Hunter Henry got it to play before.
Yeah, I thought Henry was just barely short, and then I thought May got it. I think the problem with those plays is that because everyone's elevated, there's no real the guy's down whenever the play stops, but whenever the play stops is kind of arbitrary, and then you also can't see the football. So I thought, did he get it? I really don't know. Probably not.
When you can't overturn it. You can't overturn it. I thought it was stupid to challenge it. But can the Patriots run a tush push? It's called a tush push because you push the guy in the tush. You don't block and then run behind the block. You push in the tush, hence the name tush push.
I thought it was interesting because I think it was supposed to be kind of a fake tush push. When you watch what happens, May dives 2 gaps over initially to try to go through the right side. And I think what they were expecting was that by putting the 2 defensive players out there to push him, that Denver would just sell out into the middle, and that if May then just kind of slipped to the side, there'd be an opening to shoot through. And that just wasn't there.
It wasn't. Yeah.
But May is horrendous at QB sneaks. I think
kind of crazy. So bad.
I think we can retcon the end of the first half of that Tampa game. That was not an intentional savvy move by Mike Vrabel to take the to kneel at the 1 and take the clock down. I think Drake May might actually just be that bad at QB sneaks.
You might be right. So all right. Well, that's gonna do it for us. Go ahead.
Interesting note that goalie throws in here real quick on the 4th down. Peyton said that he had a run called and that they checked out of it. I'll have to look at that. That's interesting if that's the case.
It's interesting. They didn't get the look they wanted, but I think it's crazy for me. But what are you going to do? Hey, worked out for the Patriots. And listen, it's an ugly win. It doesn't matter. I said it on the show before. I said it. I've been saying it. I'm going to say it again, and I'll say it for the next 2 weeks. You don't have to win by 10. You don't have to win by 20. You don't have to cover the spread. You just got to win by 1. Today, the Patriots won by 3, and they headed back to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a fun 2 weeks. We're going to be breaking things down. We're going to probably try to get a few guests on to talk some Patriots with you guys. It's going to be a ton of fun. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate you guys, and we will be back Thursday night breaking down this matchup between the Patriots and the Seahawks in Super Bowl 60. Be good to each other.